Hello, everyone, and a very warm welcome to another episode of the English Leap podcast. I am so incredibly happy you are tuning in today, whether you are listening on your daily commute, while washing the dishes, or during a quiet evening at home. This podcast is your cozy, friendly, and realistic space to learn natural English through real, everyday conversations. I am your host, Adam, and as always, I am joined by my wonderful co-host and conversation coach, Sarah.
Hello, English learners. It is so wonderful to be here with you today, Adam, and with everyone listening from all around the world. I hope you are having a beautiful day, and I am so excited for what we are going to share in this episode.
Me too, Sarah. Today we are tackling a very specific, very frustrating topic that almost every single English learner knows. The title of today's episode is Stop Translating in Your Head: How to Speak English in Chunks.
This is such an important topic, Adam. I hear about it from my students every single week.
Yes, and I know this feeling personally. You are in a conversation, someone asks you a simple question, and you understand it perfectly. But when it is your turn to speak, your brain completely freezes. You start translating word by word from your first language into English. You try to remember the grammar rules, you search for the correct vocabulary, and you worry about making mistakes. By the time you are ready to say your perfect sentence, the conversation has already moved on without you, and you are left standing there in silence.
It is a painful feeling, and it makes people feel like their English is weak, even when they actually know a lot of words and grammar.
Exactly. So, here is our promise to you for today's episode. We are going to show you how to break this slow translation habit. You will learn about English chunks, which are small, ready-made blocks of language. We will show you how they can help you reduce the mental pressure in your brain, improve your response speed, and help you speak more naturally without overthinking every single rule.
It is not about a magic trick or becoming perfectly fluent overnight. It is a practical, realistic strategy to make the English you already know much easier to use. So, let's get comfortable, relax our shoulders, and dive straight into the conversation.
Sarah, to start our discussion today, I want to talk about how this problem actually shows up in real life. For me, it usually happens at work, especially during our weekly team meetings.
Oh, meetings are classic high-pressure environments, Adam. What happens in your head during those moments?
Well, last week we were discussing our new project timeline. My manager looked at me and said, "Adam, what do you think about the deadline for the report?" Now, I had a very clear opinion in my mind. I wanted to say that the timeline was too short and we needed more time. But the moment everyone looked at me, my brain did not just speak. My brain started running a heavy translation program.
Laughs gently. The heavy program. What did it look like?
First, I started translating from my native language. I thought, I believe that the time is not enough. But then the grammar department in my head started shouting, "Wait! Is believe the best word? Should we use think? Or maybe consider? And is time is not enough correct? Or is it there is not enough time?" Then I started worrying about the preposition. Do I say enough time for the report or enough time to the report?
And while all these departments were arguing in your head, what was happening in the real world?
In the real world, I was just staring at my manager. I was smiling and nodding my head to look professional, but I was completely silent. The pause kept growing. It felt like 17 minutes, but it was probably about 5 seconds. Finally, before I could finish my translation, my colleague jumped in and said, "I think we need one more week." My manager nodded and said, "Great point. Let's do that."
Oh, that is so frustrating, Adam. You had the same idea, but the translation delay stopped you from sharing it.
It really did. And the worst part is, 5 minutes after the meeting ended, the perfect English sentence just walked into my mind. I was sitting at my desk, and my brain said, "Oh, you should have said, I'm not sure this timeline is realistic." See? Easy. My brain became brilliant when the opportunity was already gone.
That is so common, Adam, and you should not feel bad about it. Real-life conversations move very fast. They are like a ball being thrown back and forth. If you take too long to catch the ball and think about how to hold it, the game has already moved to the next player.
Exactly. And that is why word-by-word translation is so exhausting. It makes us feel like we are constantly running behind the conversation, trying to catch up.
So, let's look at why our brains do this. Why do we default to this slow, word-by-word translation?
Is it because we don't know enough English?
Actually, no. Most of the time, intermediate learners at A2 or B1 levels have plenty of vocabulary and grammar in their memory. The problem is not what you know, the problem is how you retrieve it.
What do you mean by retrieve?
Retrieve means to find something in your memory and bring it out. When you try to speak English by translating word by word, you are forcing your brain to do 3 massive, separate jobs at the exact same time.
3 jobs? That sounds like a lot of work for a simple sentence.
It is a huge amount of work. Job number 1. You have to translate the concept from your first language. Job number 2. You have to find the individual English words for each concept. Job number 3. You have to apply grammar rules to arrange those words in the correct order, check the verb tenses, and fix the prepositions. When you try to do all of that in a split second, your brain experiences what we call decision fatigue. It is like trying to squeeze 10 people through a very narrow door at the same time. The door gets blocked, and nothing comes out.
Yes, decision fatigue is the perfect way to describe it. You are making 10 tiny grammar decisions for every single sentence. Is this verb past simple or present perfect? Do I need on or at? By the third decision, your brain is tired, you get nervous, and then you just freeze.
Exactly. And this happens because of how we often learn English in school. In school, we are often taught individual words and grammar rules. We learn that subject plus verb plus object is the formula. So when we want to speak, we try to build the sentence like an engineer building a house, brick by brick, rule by rule. But in a real conversation, nobody has time to build a house from scratch. Confident, natural speakers do not build sentences word by word. They use prefabricated blocks.
Okay, let's talk about these prefabricated blocks. You called them English chunks. What exactly is a chunk?
A chunk is simply a group of words that naturally go together in English and that speakers use as a single, ready-made unit. Think of them like Lego blocks. When you want to build a Lego house, you don't create each individual plastic brick from scratch. You just take the blocks that are already made and snap them together.
Okay, I like that image. So, I don't need to make the plastic. I just use the blocks that are already sitting in the box.
Exactly. And the most interesting thing is that you already know and use many chunks without realizing it.
Really? Give me an example of a chunk I already use.
Think about the phrase, "How's it going?" When someone walks up to you and says, "How's it going?" do you think about the grammar? Do you think, okay, how is an interrogative adverb? Is the auxiliary verb? It is the subject pronoun?
No, never. I don't think about the grammar of that phrase at all. I don't even think about the individual words. I just hear the sound, "How's it going?" And my brain knows it means, "How are you?" And I immediately answer, "Good, thanks," without any hesitation.
Exactly. That is because, "How's it going?" is a chunk in your brain. You learned it as one solid block of language. You retrieved it as a single unit, so your brain had to make 0 grammar decisions. It was instant, natural, and effortless.
Oh, I see. So the goal of learning chunks is to have more of these ready-made blocks in our brain, so we don't have to build every sentence from scratch.
Precisely, Adam. Now, I want to clarify something very important here. Learning chunks is not the same as learning pronunciation or how to link sounds together. Sometimes people confuse these. Pronunciation is physical. It is about how you move your mouth to make the sounds. But chunks are mental. They are about how your brain stores and finds language.
So chunks help with the mental load, not just the accent.
Yes. When you use a chunk, you are reducing the work your brain has to do. You are not using a magic trick that will make you perfectly fluent in one day. But you are using a realistic strategy that makes it much easier to retrieve the English you already know when you are under pressure.
This makes sense, Sarah, but let's look at some direct comparisons so our listeners can see the difference. How does a word-by-word sentence look compared to a chunk-based sentence?
Let's do a few examples. Imagine you are at work and you need to tell your colleague that you cannot do a task today because you are extremely busy. How would a word-by-word translator build that sentence?
Okay? The word-by-word translator would think, I have many works today, so I cannot do this thing for you. And then they say, I have many works today, so I cannot do this for you. It is understandable, but many works is a grammar mistake, because work is uncountable, and the sentence feels a bit stiff.
Yes, it feels a bit heavy. Now, let's use the chunk strategy. We can use the chunk, I'm a little swamped, and snap it together with another common chunk, so I don't think I can make it.
Oh, wow. I'm a little swamped today, so I don't think I can make it. That sounds incredibly natural. And because I'm a little swamped, and I don't think I can make it are prefabricated chunks, I didn't have to think about whether work is countable or uncountable.
Exactly. The chunk protects you from making grammar mistakes because the grammar inside the chunk is already correct and verified. It is like buying a pre-made cake instead of trying to bake one when you don't know the recipe.
Let's do another one. Imagine you did not hear what someone said in an online meeting because the internet connection was bad. Word by word?
A word-by-word translator might say, I did not hear the words you said with your mouth. They say, I did not hear what you said. Again, it is correct, but it sounds a little bit like a robot.
Yes, I have definitely said that sentence before. What is the chunk alternative?
The chunk alternative is simply, sorry, I didn't catch that. It is 5 words, but to a native speaker, it is one single block of sound and meaning. It is polite, natural, and very common.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. It feels so much lighter to say because I don't have to think about the past tense auxiliary verb did or how to structure the clause. I just say the block.
Exactly. Let's do one more. You want to show that you agree with an idea during a discussion, word by word?
I think your opinion is very correct, and I have the same thought in my head.
And the chunk version?
That's a fair point. I completely agree.
Beautiful. That's a fair point, and I completely agree are 2 simple, powerful chunks. You just snap them together and you sound confident, mature, and professional.
Okay, Sarah, I understand the difference now, but in a real conversation, someone speaks to me, and I have to respond. How do I actually build my response using chunks? Do I just throw random blocks at them?
No, we want to build a bridge, not a wall. To build a natural response, we can use a very simple 3-step formula. You don't need a huge vocabulary for this. You just need to connect 3 small chunks. 1. A reaction chunk to show you are listening and engaged. 2. A detail chunk to share one simple piece of information. 3. A question chunk to keep the conversation moving and pass the ball back.
Reaction, detail, question. That sounds like a very clear map. Can we practice this? You say something to me, and I will try to use the formula.
Excellent. Let's try. Hey, Adam. I had a really busy weekend.
Okay, let me look at my map. First, I need a reaction chunk. I can use, oh, really? Second, I need a detail chunk about my own weekend. I can use, I just took it easy. Third, I need a question chunk to pass the ball back to you. I can use, how about you? Now, let me put them together. Oh, really? I just took it easy. How about you?
Look at that! That was a perfect, friendly B1 level response. It sounded completely natural, and it was so easy for you to retrieve. Did you have to think about past tense verbs or sentence structure?
No, I didn't think about grammar at all. I just chose 3 ready-made blocks from my memory and snapped them together. It felt like playing a game with very simple rules.
Exactly. And that is what a real conversation is. It is shared work. You do not need to deliver a long, impressive speech. You just need to show the other person that you are with them, share a small detail, and invite them back in.
This is incredibly helpful, Sarah. Can we go through some useful categories of chunks that our listeners can start using in their daily life and work?
Yes, let's do that. I have selected 6 essential categories of chunks that are incredibly common and useful for A2 and B1 learners. Category 1, Starting chunks. Chunks to start speaking. When you want to share an opinion or answer a question, starting chunks give your brain a second to organize your thoughts and warn the listener that you are about to speak. To be honest, actually, speaking of which,
I hear actually and, to be honest, in almost every English podcast or video I watch. They are like little verbal bridges.
Category 2. Buying time chunks. Chunks to think. If your brain freezes or you need a moment to find a word, do not panicking and do not stay in complete silence. Grab one of these chunks to buy yourself 3 seconds. Give me a second. Let me think for a second. How do I put this?
Oh, how do I put this? Is brilliant. It tells the other person that I have the idea in my head. I am just looking for the right words. It sounds so natural and confident.
Category 3. Expressing opinions. Instead of always saying, I think, which can sound a bit repetitive, you can use these blocks to share your view. From my perspective, I'd say, in my opinion.
From my perspective, sounds very professional. I can definitely use that during my weekly meetings at work.
Category 4. Agreeing chunks. To show you agree with someone quickly and warmly during a discussion. Exactly. I completely agree. That's a fair point. Category 5. Polite disagreement chunks. This is a tricky one. In English, we rarely say, you are wrong, because it sounds too direct and rude. Instead, we soften our disagreement with these chunks. I see your point, but I'm not sure I completely agree. I look at it a little differently.
I look at it a little differently is very polite. It allows me to disagree without starting an argument.
Category 6. Asking for clarification. Chunks to understand. If you did not understand what someone meant, do not just nod your head and pretend. Use these clear, confident chunks to ask for help. Could you clarify what you mean by, I'm not sure I follow? Sorry, could you say that again?
These are like handles for my brain, Sarah. When the conversation feels slippery or fast, I can just grab one of these handles to stay steady. But, Sarah, let's be honest. Sometimes we learn these chunks, but we still struggle to use them. What are the most common mistakes learners make when they try to use chunks?
That is a great question, Adam. I see 3 big mistakes that actually block progress and cause more overthinking. Mistake number 1, trying to memorize giant lists of chunks. Many learners see a video called 100 Useful English Phrases and try to write them all down in a notebook. They try to memorize them like they are preparing for a vocabulary test. But by Wednesday, they have forgotten almost everything.
Okay, Sarah. You don't need to look directly at my old color-coded notebook. It is currently sitting under a pile of papers at home, and I haven't opened it in months.
We have all done it, Adam, but memorizing giant lists doesn't work because the words have no home in your memory. You need to focus on quality, not quantity. It is much better to learn 3 to 5 chunks a week, but actually use them in your real life. Mistake number 2, choosing overly formal or academic chunks for daily life. Some learners try to use business English or formal writing phrases in casual conversations. For example, they are having coffee with a friend and they say, I acknowledge your statement.
Yes! It sounds like a lawyer trying to order a sandwich. It feels very unnatural.
Exactly. Simple is not weak. Simple is clear, and clear English is powerful. Choose chunks that real, everyday people actually use. Mistake number 3, what I call method hopping. This is when you try one learning app on Monday, watch a YouTube video on Tuesday, download a PDF worksheet on Wednesday, and start a new course on Thursday. You keep changing your strategy before giving any single method a fair chance to work.
That is so true. I have hopped from method to method for years, hoping to find a magical solution. But real progress only starts when you stick to one simple routine and give it time to build momentum.
Exactly, Adam. And now, it is time for our favorite segment of the show. For everyone listening at home, this is your turn to speak. This is our interactive practice. I am going to give you a real-life situation, and I want you to choose one of today's chunks to respond. We will leave a 3-second pause of silence. Don't just read the words in your head, actually say them out loud. Use your real voice. Even if you are in a quiet place, you can whisper. Ready? Let's try. Situation 1. Your colleague at work walks over and says, "Hey, can you help me finish this report right now?" But you are extremely busy with your own tasks. You want to decline politely. 3 seconds of silence for the listener. Adam, what is your response?
I would say, I'm a little swamped right now. Can I get back to you in 10 minutes?
Beautiful, perfect timing, and very professional. Situation 2. A friend invites you to go to the beach on Saturday, but you are feeling very tired and want to stay home. You want to suggest doing it another time. 3 seconds of silence for the listener. Adam, what do you say?
I would say, I'd love to, but can we do a rain check?
Fantastic. Can we do a rain check? Is a friendly, casual way to protect your time without hurting your friendship. Situation 3. You are in an online meeting. Your manager is explaining a new project, but the connection is bad, and you did not hear his last sentence. 3 seconds of silence for the listener. Adam, what is the chunk?
Sorry, I didn't catch that. Could you say that again?
Excellent. Clear, confident, and no drama. Situation 4. Someone in a meeting gives an opinion, and you agree with their idea, but you want to sound thoughtful. 3 seconds of silence for the listener. Adam?
That's a fair point. I completely agree.
Look at that! You are snapping the Lego blocks together like a pro, Adam.
It actually feels really good, Sarah. My brain feels so much lighter when I don't have to build the grammar from zero. So, Sarah, if our listeners want to continue this practice at home, how do they find and build their own chunks?
I have a simple 3-step method that you can use every single day. Step 1. Listen and notice. When you are listening to this podcast, watching a movie, or reading a story, do not just look at individual words. Become a language detective. Notice the groups of words that real people repeat. Look for the patterns like, I ended up, it turned out, to be honest.
So, I don't look at the word ended alone. I look at I ended up as one piece.
Exactly. Step 2. Personalize it. Connect the chunk to your real daily life. If you learn the chunk, I haven't got around to, write a sentence about a real task you need to do. For example, I haven't got around to cleaning my desk, or I haven't got around to calling my brother. This gives the chunk a real home in your memory.
That is so much more useful than writing a random textbook sentence like, the cat is on the table. I don't even own a cat, Sarah!
Exactly. Connect it to your real life. And step 3. Keep a tired day routine. Many learners make beautiful, huge plans for their perfect days. But when you are tired or stressed, those plans fail. So, on a busy or tired day, keep your English practice very small. Instead of studying for an hour, just say 3 simple sentences out loud using your chunks.
I love that. A 5-minute tired version is so much better than abandoning your English completely. It keeps your momentum alive.
Yes, it does. And now, Adam, let's revisit the very first conversation from the beginning of this episode.
The one where my mind went blank and I just said, coffee?
Yes, but this time, I want you to use the chunks and the formula we learned today. No word-by-word translation, no overthinking. Just use your Lego blocks. Ready?
I am ready, Sarah. Let's try.
Hey, Adam. How was your weekend? Did you do anything fun?
Actually, it was pretty quiet. I had a busy week, so I ended up staying home and taking it easy. How about you? Did you do anything eventful?
Wow, Adam, that was absolutely amazing. You sounded so natural, so fluent, and so relaxed.
Thank you, Sarah. And you know what? It felt completely different. I wasn't running a translation machine in my head. I just grabbed 3 simple blocks. Actually, I ended up staying home. And how about you?
And that is the power of chunks, Adam. It takes the pressure off your brain and turns speaking into a natural, shared experience.
Let's do a quick recap of the 3 most important ideas from today's episode.
Number 1. Stop translating word by word. It crowds your mind, causes decision fatigue, and makes you freeze when real life starts.
Number 2. Speak in chunks. Chunks are ready-made Lego blocks of English that help you speak faster, more naturally, and with 0 grammar stress.
Number 3. Prioritize clarity over perfection. A short, clear sentence using simple chunks is always better than a long, shaky sentence built word by word.
And now, dear learners, We have a small, friendly challenge for you today. We want you to practice your English right now in the comments section of this video.
Yes. In the comments, finish this simple sentence using one of today's chunks or a small goal you have. One goal I'm working toward right now is keep it simple, keep it honest, and don't worry about perfect grammar.
Even one short sentence is real practice, and every small win builds self-trust.
Thank you so much for spending this cozy, peaceful time with us today. Keep listening, keep practicing, and take care of your heart.
This is Adam, and this is Sarah, and you have been listening to the English Leap podcast.
Bye! See you in the next one.